Oh yeah.
Are there any crazy stories where you purposely prank somebody or something?
We just pranked someone this year, actually. His fire lieutenant. He was at the fire station, and I dropped in to get something from him, and he's like, "Hey, he doesn't know I'm a twin yet." He's like, and I was like, I had like, I don't know, athletic something on, and he's like, act like you're going to the Browns game. Tell him, say, hey, I'm dipping out of here early. I'm going to the Browns game, and just run with it. And so I was like, okay. So his lieutenant's in his office. He's doing something. I walk in. I was like, hey, Lieutenant, I'm just going to go to the Browns game, and I'll be back whenever it's over. I'll leave as soon as it's over. And he's like, what? And he just had the most confused look at like, why would you be leaving to go to the Browns game? You're on shift. Finally he got mad and he got up and goes, what do you mean you're going to the Browns game? And then Matt walked around the corner. I said, this is my twin, John.
That's so funny.
So that was the most recent prank.
I challenge you as a believer, let that power get out.
Blind people received their sight. People have been carried in. We're healed. Nobody touched them. Nobody laid a hand on them. We just praised the Lord and spoke the word of faith, and God began to heal the people.
Here's fish.
Yeah, let's go!
Oh my gosh, he's a pig.
You landed inside.
He kept me from the skunk. Look how massive this is.
The Casting Faith Podcast.
Fish on.
Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Charlie. That's the air horns. We got Brother Sean and Brother John with us in the house tonight in studio. Our good friend, very special guest, John Miller. Not only is John a dedicated minister in the UPCI, he's also a missionary kid, or was a missionary's kid, a father, a husband, and an all-around awesome guy to be around with, one of my closest friends. And there's a very unique thing about John in that he's a twin. And so we'll be talking about John's incredible life and from his journeys of the swamps of Louisiana all the way to the heartland in Ohio. And so we're so glad you're with us today, Brother John.
Man,
Yeah, man.
it's an honor to be on. Thanks for the invitation.
And you're the first person on camera
Wow.
on the podcast. Not only just guest, but you're actually like in line number one from the camera. So
Well,
Welcome to the
one.
show.
what an
No
honor.
pressure.
Sorry to all the viewers. I apologize.
We have some wild stories and some fun today, so we're gonna enjoy this podcast probably more than most, just because you're here. So grab your coffee and your energy drink, whatever fuels you, and get ready for an awesome episode today. All right. So to start this episode, I usually start with a story, and I'm going to start with the story if that's all right.
do we want to try which music?
That music? I don't know.
What's wrong with that music?
I don't know if
dude?
I like that music. You know, Marcus really likes the sound effects, though. That was the other
yeah?
critique I got.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
He thinks we need more.
They're on point. Yeah, there you go.
All right, well, here we go. Here's the story. All right, have you guys ever seen the show Alone?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Alone, if you haven't seen it, have you seen it?
Yep.
Okay. One of my favorite shows. Honestly, I think I've seen them all. So one of my favorite shows, but there was a specific season that I want to talk about for a second. They dropped a bunch of contestants off in the most remote, unforgiving places on earth, and it's survival of the fittest. And usually it's the last person standing who wins. And the twist is you're always alone, which for me is one of the most terrible feelings. Like, I don't like to be all by myself all the time. So there's no crew, no one to help you, no one to film, no nice equipment like this. You're all completely alone doing what you're doing, just trying to survive, right? And so the last person who wins usually wins $500,000 or $1 million if it's a special season.
I'll take it.
And so, but I can't
I'll be
remember.
alone for that.
Yeah. I'll make it 6 days before I'm like, I'm out. But
Can you take a map gas torch?
no, there's like a required list. I've looked into it actually.
I'm not making it without the map gas.
So no. But there was a specific season, I can't remember which one it was, but they allowed 2 people to work together. But there was a catch. One of them would be dropped off at a drop point, and the other would be dropped off somewhere else, and they had to find each other within a certain amount of time to stay in the show. Right. So in this specific season, there were two brothers, Ted and Jim, and it was a whole different vibe to this season. These brothers had to work. One of them like built the shelter, and the other one had to just travel with like a compass to try to find the drop point. And so half the contestants tapped out early because they couldn't find each other. And so this team of brothers finally found each other. The brothers went. So they finally caught up to each other, and they went the whole season, and they actually ended up winning the show. Yeah, but the unique thing about these brothers is I believe they were twins.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So they weren't just
find your twin.
They weren't just survivalists
with your mind.
Yeah, exactly. So hear this. They were a team, and not just any team, but they grew up in the wild. They did all these things together. They had a close bond as being twins. And have you guys ever heard, and John, maybe you can speak more to this, but they say that twins have this deeper connection than most people have with each other. It's like, you know, there's always that. Yeah. We were both siblings. I'm a brother. I'll say this
before John talks about it. My dad is a twin.
I didn't know that.
And his brother died of a heart attack. He was delivering pizzas and died in the mall, dropped dead.
Man.
And the night that he died, he got really sick. And my stepmom, she said, or he was telling her, he's like, I don't know, something's just not right. Something feels wrong. And he didn't know what it was. And then he got the phone call that his brother died.
Man.
And it was like 3 days.
So like he had this
3 days of sickness after that.
Wow.
His body was sick after that.
That's crazy, man.
Before he even knew it. That's crazy.
I don't know if it's true or not because I've only been a twin for the entirety of my life. But I will say there are certain times where like he just comes to my mind. It's like something's not right. And sure enough, like, no, he was either going through something or he was injured, but I don't know if it was just like by chance, you know, or if it's actually a twin thing. Wouldn't know, but I will say there have been many times where we've checked in on each other and it's like, oh yeah, by the way,
that's
glad
really
you
cool.
called.
That's
Come over
really
here,
cool.
pick me up. I can't move, you know, that kind of
wow.
that happened recently.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so
So Matt knew that. Matt is his brother, by the way.
No.
Matt knew that your back was injured?
No, but I did
he's
call
like,
him.
I'm Matt's brother.
Yeah. He may have known, he didn't tell me that, but no, he had to pick me up.
Oh,
so,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh,
that would be wild.
Yeah. So apparently a lot of twins feel that way. They have this special intuition, this special connection to where like if something's going wrong, they have that feeling. I guess, you know how like moms have that intuition.
Yeah. My wife, I mean, when one of the kids are hurting, like she just knows that type of scream, right?
Yeah.
There's that type of scream. I'm like, I'm still cool. Nothing's really happening. I'm not jumping up to go check. And she's like, no, they're really hurt. You know, like Ashlyn's like, she just knows. But I will say like, I feel his pain sometimes. Like even if we're together and he gets hurt, like, I don't know. I feel like I'm hurting just as much as he is.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
I don't know if that just because I love him that much.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Or did you just shared all of the, like, from the moment of, what's the word, inception? I don't know the right word.
Yeah.
But you've been in the womb your entire existence.
Yeah.
You know, like you went through the same forming process. Like it's kind of like the same body, really. Like, it's kind of neat.
It was the best thing in the world growing up as a twin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a best friend your whole life.
Yeah. You always had somebody to play with or fight with.
Or
Fight
get on. So who gets the mower?
Oh yeah. I won that battle.
That's not what Matt says.
I'm just waiting for the boat.
Ask him who mowed.
Yeah. And I have. And he said he did.
There it is. We're already he's not here. It's not fair.
Matt's our next guest.
I mowed.
That's hilarious.
So these brothers had this intuition, this special bond, this special, I don't know what you would call it, but they became a viral staple in Alone's history because of, first of all, they're hilarious together.
Yeah.
One moment they hate each other. I can't believe you didn't get the firewood. You got to do something. And they're all at each other's
Collect
necks.
these Muppets with me.
Yeah,
Is that what it's called?
Limpets.
Limpets.
And gosh, Ted, come get those limpets or something. Don't just sit there. And they would always be at each other's throats. It's really funny to watch go down. But there was this one episode where one of them got really sick, and the other one immediately from hating him went to, I just gotta make him feel better, man. And he had like this real deep, like, this is my brother.
Yeah.
And I need to take care of him.
I gotta nurture him back to health. I
Yeah.
believe is what he said.
Yeah. But they became viral because they ended up going, they not only did they find each other, but they went the whole season and they won. And after that one got better from being sick, it was like an easy win to the point where they never let two contestants be on the show again.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because it was so easy for them to win. And so it wasn't just a survival story, but it was a story about how that twin intuition was a big deal. And so I figured I'd ask you if there was any of that going on with you and Matthew.
To a certain point, like I said, I don't know any other life as far as like if anybody else kind of feels that.
Yeah.
But I will say there's been many times, even when we were in different countries, I would feel like, hey, I need to check on him. I don't know if that was just a brother thing, but I do feel it was like a very strong urge. And sure enough, when I did check on him, like, yeah, he wasn't okay, So
Do you ever get that with that same feeling like with your sisters?
no.
So is it,
No,
it's
so like I
different?
said, it is different. Not that I don't love them any less.
Right.
I never.
So Matt's your favorite.
No.
You did not hear that here.
He's my neighbor, so he does a lot of favors for me. So you're my favorite for now.
So yeah, growing up as a twin was unique then, huh?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
In school we switched places.
Did the teachers notice?
In band they did, and it wasn't because of me; it was because of Matt. I played the saxophone; he played the trumpet, and when we started playing, the band director was like trying to direct, and I don't know if you know anything about like wind instruments, but it's not necessarily like what you're doing with your lips or anything. It's the air. You got to press the right button, so to speak, for the right key to be played. Versus the trumpet, you can kind of fiddle your way around if you know music a little bit. Now, it's not as easy as I'm making it sound, but I was hanging in there, I wasn't doing the best, but Matthew was just, it was bad.
I was waiting for it. Matthew was just a prodigy.
He was not the next Kenny G, that's for sure. He definitely, finally the band director got mad, and he's like, John, what are you doing? And finally, to the point where I'm like, I'm John, I'm sorry. I didn't want him to hate me, so I had to just like come clean and just like, hey. And then I was really good at spelling. I'll never forget, this is middle school. I was really good at spelling for some reason. Not that great at it now. I don't understand that, but yeah. So I took a spelling test twice. Teachers never knew. So forgive me, but I was young and dumb, and yeah, we switched. Yeah,
That's funny.
yeah.
That's fun.
When I first started coming to FAC, I had a hard time knowing Matt John. And sometimes still, like yesterday, I was going up, I was trying to find you you were at the youth booth, but Matt was standing there, and I was like, oh no. But now it's obvious. Like I definitely know, but I don't know like if it's just like from far away,
That's kind of funny because yesterday there's a guy. This is second or third time coming, and I had connected with him and invited him to play some basketball and things like that. He came up to me yesterday and he's like, John, you never told me you had a twin. He was like, I went up to your brother and just to talking to him and found out that John has a twin, and I'm not talking to John. So I forget that I'm a twin sometimes, and I have to say, hey, by the way, If you come here again and you see somebody that looks like me and they're not talking to you like they know you, it's probably my twin. But we've so many years, people have just come up to us. And
Did it ever offend you?
we just keep talking. We act like we're one another rather than correcting some people.
Yeah.
We
Because it's
just-
really embarrassing from like our perspective.
Yeah, and I don't want to embarrass
Yeah.
anybody, so so I just go with it.
Now, is that a learned thing, or like was there ever a point in your life where you were like, I'm John?
When I was younger, you know,
Not that. Yeah.
when I was younger, I'm like, I am. Sometimes I despise being a twin. You know.
Yeah.
Now that I'm older, I'm like, man, that was the best thing in the world.
Yeah. That's cool.
But now, yeah, we just go with it. A lot of people, really, they see me and they talk to me. I've never seen him before in my life, even around. He works for the fire department, so they'll come up to me. They'll say, "Hey, how you doing?" I just go with it,
That's funny.
rather than like correcting them. And
Thanks for saving my life the other day.
but we've learned to also connect. With
Here's
one another.
$500.
Yeah. So
Matt, this guy gave me $200.
I'll keep 100 of it. I give you the other.
Finder's fee.
But I've learned to like call him
Yeah.
afterwards and say, "Hey, by the way, I ran into somebody. This is what they look like. You may." And sometimes he's like, "Oh, I know immediately who that is." And the next time that person sees them, he can say, "Hey, by the way, that was my twin," or he can just roll with it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's cool, man.
I would have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What are there any crazy stories where you purposely, besides like going to class for each other, like just wanted to like prank somebody or something?
We just pranked someone this year, actually. His
nice.
his fire lieutenant. He was at the fire station and I dropped in to get something from him and he's like, "Hey," he doesn't know I'm a twin yet. He's like, and I was like, I had like, I don't know, athletic something on, and he's like, "Act like you're going to the Browns game. Tell him, say, hey, I'm dipping out of here early. I'm going to the Browns game," and just run with it. And so I was like, okay. So his lieutenant's in his office. He's doing something. I walk in. I was like, "Hey, Lieutenant, I'm just going to go to the Browns game, and I'll be back whenever it's over. I'll leave as soon as it's over." And he's like, "What?" And he just had the most confused look at like, "Why would you be leaving to go to the Browns game? You're on shift." Finally he got mad and he got up and goes, "What do you mean you're going to the Browns game?" And then Matt walked around the corner. So this is my twin, John.
that's so funny.
So that was the most recent prank
That's awesome.
that we did. Yeah, we still prank. We're 31 years old and still little kids at heart. So
That's awesome.
That is so funny, man.
yeah.
And so not only did you grow up being a twin, you have other siblings too, but also you grew up as a missionary's kid.
So this is very hard. Like, so I grew up in Louisiana. I left for the mission field as soon as I graduated high school. So I was able to graduate high school. 2 weeks later, I was on a plane going to another nation as an aimer, actually. Actually, I take that back. I wasn't an aimer yet, but went over there and joined my parents who were already over there. And they left when I was in 10th grade, lived with my grandparents. And so what a life-changing experience. So I had the privilege of growing up in America, graduating high school. And when my parents moved to the mission field, it was a weird spot. I was halfway through high school, and it was a weird spot of like, okay, what do I do? Like, does he graduate here? And we're moving to a third world country, right? So it was just a weird time. So then we all made a decision to let me graduate. And I'm so glad they did, because God did a whole thing in my own life, healed me, a miracle in my life, showing that it was His desire for me to go over there. Because, you know, you're going to graduate high school and then you're going to move to a third world country. It's not very appealing.
Right.
But God did His thing, and yeah, it was an amazing experience.
Yeah, man, that's cool. So you mentioned God healed you. I guess, like, maybe if you feel comfortable, maybe share your testimony, share that story.
Yeah. So to be quite honest with you, when, you know, I was in high school and I knew this was coming. My grandmother, she passed away a couple years ago. My dad's mom, she would always come to us, and we had connected with so many different Indian families, and from India, not American Indians. Just want to make that known. But we made so many different connections, became really close friends with so many different families from India that had moved to the States. My grandmother always came to me and always said this weird question: "Hey, what will you do if your mom and dad and all of you were called as missionaries to India?" And me being a young guy, being raised in a place I loved being raised in Louisiana, doing a bunch of fun stuff, outdoor stuff. I had my whole life planned by that point. I knew exactly what I was going to do with my life after high school, right? And I always put her off. I was like, no, don't talk like that. That's never going to happen. But I really do feel that God had shown her some things. Mm-hmm. And in a way, she was kind of getting me mentally prepared for the question that was going to happen, or the direction that our life was going to be going towards. And sure enough, my dad had traveled to India a couple of times, and he felt that burden. My mom felt the burden. And my dad was a pastor in Louisiana for a little over 10 years. And that was my life, and then they felt that transition, their call in place in their life to go to India. So my dad and parents had built a house. It was a beautiful home. We had everything. I was very comfortable. Mm-hmm. And then they said, hey, God's calling us to the mission field. We're going to go. And the first thing that I said is I'm not going. I was very rebellious. To be very open with you. Around the same time, I'm actually dealing with a blood disorder as well called ITP. It's idiopathic thrombocytopenia purpura is the actual term for it. But
that's a lot to say.
Yeah.
You want to try to say it?
Nope.
Yeah, go ahead. Give it a shot. It's where your immune system, your body sees your platelets would actually clot your blood. If you get cut or anything, whatever, it's platelets that actually clot your blood. And it wipes it out. And so the doctors told me, initially they thought I had cancer. I was very active growing up, and we had taken a trampoline, and we were dunking. We were literally running, jumping on the trampoline, and doing all these crazy things and dunking the basketball. And I would wake up the next day, and I was black and blue all over, bruises everywhere. It didn't cross my mind to tell anybody, just whatever. Then my mom, I was getting ready for school. My mom walked in, and she saw black bruises all over me. She's like, we're making a doctor's appointment immediately. I'm like, oh, that's fine. Went to see the doctor. They thought it was cancer at first. They did a lot of blood work, and then they told me that I need to go to Children's Hospital in New Orleans immediately. They did a bunch of tests, and then they diagnosed me with the blood disorder. And so my platelets would get below 2,000. Which is very dangerously low. Your brain can hemorrhage at any moment. They couldn't do anything about it. They told me that if I got hit in the head harder or the stomach harder than an eggshell would crack, that I would bleed to death. No one could do anything about it. So it was a very scary time to be told that. I think I was 13 when they told me that.
Man.
Wow.
And so my life changed drastically. I was in and out of hospital. I was probably in the hospital once every 2 weeks. And they were trying so many different things. A lot of people have ITP. They don't even know they have it. They have it, and it goes away before. A lot of people have it a week, a couple months. I had it. They called mine chronic ITP. They couldn't figure out what was going on. In fact, they were doing a whole medical study on me, because I was the lasting case that they had seen at the time with ITP. They tried so many different experiments on me. I remember one time they tried this new infusion on me, and are you familiar with the Causeway in Louisiana? It's the longest bridge over a body of water in the world. It takes about 40 minutes or so to get over, I believe. We were about halfway through going home, and my body started rejecting the infusion. I was actually allergic to whatever they put in my body. Man. And it felt like a knife was being stabbed in my back. But a long story short, ups and downs. And then when they said, hey, you're going to India, I was still dealing with this blood disorder. And the question was, I had overheard my parents talk about this. They'll probably listen to this podcast, so I did hear you discuss this. But they're like, how do we bring someone that's sick like this to a third world country? You know, what do they have available there to help them out? Because I was living on like prednisone and things like that to keep my platelets elevated enough to be safe. And they wanted me to wear a helmet, and I told them no, I'm not wearing a helmet as a teenager.
Right. What teenager would want that?
Exactly. So decline the helmet. But yeah, to make the long story short, fast forward, I've been dealing with this. They've tried to do everything for me. But they said, hey, our next step is we're going to have to try to like take out a spleen. And you can live without your spleen, but you have to be on medicine for the rest of your life. Spleen is like your body filter is what it is. And so we were actually scheduled to go into surgery, and they had said, hey, we're gonna take this out. Needless to say, my parents' best friends, they were going to start a home missions work, and our church was praying over them. It was their last service before they started this new work. And he's very close to me. I call him Uncle Henry. He's really not my uncle, but he is to me. My Uncle Henry is who it is, and he felt prayed. He had prayed over me many, many times before. It wasn't the lack of prayer that God didn't heal my body, but he prayed for me that night. And he's like, something was different. Something was different. And he went to my parents and he said, hey, just so you know, I feel like God healed John tonight. I didn't know that at the time, but around the same time, I remember looking at my arms and stuff. I had what they call petechiae all over my arms, which is like blood coming up through the blood vessels. It's not something you can like wipe away or anything. It was just underneath the skin. And I knew my platelets were low. So we were getting ready to go to the hospital again. And I got so frustrated. And I'll never forget, I was in the shower and I was crying. And I said, God, if it is your will for me to go, heal me. Heal me. And
because you didn't want to go.
I didn't want to go. I was very rebellious. And I felt really, really bad for my parents because I didn't want to talk about it. I wasn't going, you know. Yeah. I was going to go, but I didn't want to. You know, I really did have the choice by that time. I graduated. I was 17 years old when I did go. But I said, God, heal me if this is your will. And he did. Mm-hmm. I'll never forget, walked in the doctor's office, postponed the surgery. They did blood work. And my doctor, who had seen me for 4.5 years, or whatever it was crying. Says, John, you need to frame this. Wow. This is a miracle. Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Incredible.
Yeah. So sorry if I took a lot of time there.
No. What was your first feeling after knowing that you were healed and then knowing that you're going overseas? Was it like, oh man?
No, it was a slow work. I mean, I knew it was a God thing at that point, but I still wasn't ready. I will tell you, there's been some major people in my life, and I'll say Brother Mark Hadaball, Sister Selena Nichols, Sister Carla Burton. Those three people changed my life, and they led a team, the MK ministry team, and we went to St. Louis for a school of missions before we even went overseas, and I was amongst other MKs at that point that were already on the field serving, and seeing their burden for the lost. Like it did something within me. Yeah. And it came from when I went, I was still rebellious. I knew it was God's will, but I was fighting it. By the end of that week, I had accepted
the week in St. Louis.
Call. Yeah.
So exposure.
It did something. Yeah. And there were God moments that were happening.
Yeah.
Awesome. and then years later, they actually brought me back to speak to some of the MKs that were struggling.
Wow.
Same place I was in. So God really did a thing. So it wasn't easy by any means,
right.
but God healing me the way he did was a sign. Hey, I'm going.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah, man, that's incredible. Incredible that that God works in that way sometimes, where you just sometimes He calls you to, in every experience that I've had where I felt that God is calling me to something, I did not want it.
Yeah.
Like I was like, that's not me. I don't feel like this is something that I could do. That's for somebody else. But then you go through this process, and it's. I feel like the more you fight it, the harder that process has to be. So
I didn't want to be in Ohio. I wanted to move back to Louisiana. That was another process. There were things to be things that happened. It was like, no,
I didn't want to move to Ohio either.
Ohio's awesome. I love Ohio. I'm not even from here, but I love Ohio. I love I love the 4 seasons. It's hard to say right now with all the snow and the polar vortex.
Next week I saw it's supposed to be 0 degrees.
Oh, man.
Right. And
the rest of this month isn't coming out of the freezing except for this weekend.
And we just had an episode where we talked about the polar vortex. Polar vortex.
That was a Patreon exclusive.
The polar vortex, I think it was 2014. We were talking about how crazy
that was around the year that I had to make my decision to come to Ohio. To stay in Ohio rather.
What a welcoming party.
Yeah.
Welcome to Ohio. It's negative 30 out right now.
Man.
Fun times.
And we were like, oh, we're out of that. That's never going to happen again. Just a few episodes. Next news cycle. Polar vortex headed to Ohio. Awesome. Very good.
I don't think it's at the level, though, that it was in 2016.
No.
It's not even close.
I remember I had flew back in. This is when Delta Airlines was still at Akron, Canton.
Yeah.
And
man, that would be awesome.
I flew back in, and then right after that, they started shutting flights down. It was just so cold.
Yeah,
it's
wild.
Welcome back to Ohio.
Yeah.
Did you do the whole pot of water in the air thing when you got here?
No, I stayed inside
like a normal person.
I just saw.
I was out there playing with bubbles and making stuff.
I just saw the Outdoor Boys. He was before they moved to Alaska. Have you watched that show Outdoor Boys on YouTube?
No.
Like Alaskan survival stuff. It's pretty cool.
I will now.
But this guy, he lives there now, I think. But before he would just fly and visit family or something. But he like packed up all his stuff. His whole family packed him up. He's like, all right, we got a flight to catch. And then they get to the airport, and then the next clip is, all right, just kidding. The flight was canceled, and the next flight out is a week from now. So we're going camping again.
Man, that could be good and bad.
So when it's that cold, like your flights are.
I've been stuck in Florida, and I'm like, okay. It was like
bummer. Stuck in Florida.
Yeah, there was bad area in like Nashville.
You got to watch out though, Florida. There's a lot of stories that come from Florida.
It seems like the stories all come from Florida. Ohio,
every story starts with Florida, man.
Florida, man, and Ohio. Yeah. So you got any Louisiana man stories?
As in, I got a bunch of stories.
Let's hear it.
I mean, what genre are you wanting here?
I didn't want to interrupt your. This is where we're gonna have a jump cut.
No, we don't have to. We can just roll with the punches.
This is authentic.
Yeah.
Authentic.
Yeah.
Real thing.
This is real life.
Tell us a story. Tell us a story from childhood or something. The craziest thing that you can remember from your childhood or from growing up in Louisiana.
Oh man. My childhood was kind of unique in the fact that I guess unique to our part of where I grew up. Middle of nowhere.
Mm.
You know, Ashlyn went there and she was like, "There's not even street lights." Yeah,
Is there-
she's like, "It's the darkest I've ever
Is
seen."
there a McDonald's?
There is a McDonald's.
A
I'm good.
Denny's?
I'm good.
No Denny's. Where I'm like in my town,
Shoney's?
No, I mean there's Shoney's around, but like an hour away.
Yeah.
In my town, there's always a Mexican restaurant. A Burger King that always burnt down like every year. Not burnt down, but caught on fire. I was always suspicious.
It's lack of experienced cooks in the kitchen is probably what
It's the alligators.
Yeah.
what that is.
They had a Winn-Dixie.
Is there any like Mothman in West Virginia?
Sean's
The
shook.
Mothman stuff? Is there any like weird extraterrestrial
since starting
unexplainable things in Louisiana that are just like to Louisiana.
Since David's episode, he's gone down the rabbit hole.
Oh, that's dangerous.
And we're like,
that
come
was a
up
dangerous
here.
episode.
There's always like Bigfoot, right?
Yeah.
You know, I've heard of that on your episode already. I mean, on your podcast. There is a place in what we call Bush. There is a road. We used to be a part of a hunting club there, thousands of acres. But there was this gravel road. It's called Swamp Road. And when it would rain a lot, it literally would wash away the road. And they would just like throw more gravel down and repave it. But we would hunt down this road and stuff. But they always said that was like a swamp monster on Swamp Road. Yeah. So as a kid,
Is this like
I
the
knew
Loch
it was
Ness
fake.
monster kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I knew it was fake. But driving down that road at night when your headlights isn't even hitting, you know what I mean?
Honey
You go,
Island Swamp Monster? Is that what it is?
yeah.
I looked it up.
Well, it's something similar.
Said to be a Bigfoot-like creature.
Yeah, it's more of like a swamp creature,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? So we would hunt, you know, as a kid, we would hunt in that area.
Yeah.
So it was always a little creepy walking to the stand or wherever we're hunting before daybreak.
Yeah.
That was always interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Driving down it was interesting. But then we got older, you know, it was like, Swamp Road was where we went to go drift, you know? So.
Preparing to move to Ohio and driving in the snow.
Exactly. It helped me. Yeah.
Help you navigate the Tallmadge Circle too, probably.
You know,
That's easy.
dude.
I agree.
Wouldn't it be so?
Bangladesh helped me there.
There it is.
Oh, Bangladesh is crazy
Now, I've
traffic.
heard
no rules.
I've heard there's no rules.
No rules.
You don't stop. You don't.
No, you pull up to a red light. You don't just stop. I mean, you just keep going. They literally have
It's like a roll
red
through.
lights there, and then there's a police officer with a big stick.
And he'll whack you if
And
you get
he's
out of
the
hand.
one telling you to go or not. So,
Hey, we got an Uber in Brazil when we had to leave first. It was me and Trayshawn and another guy named Talon. We had to leave at like 12:30 or 1 o'clock in the morning, the night of the Holy Ghost rally, and we got an Uber. Shout out to Talon, he bought the Uber. But this Uber driver was from Brazil, or he's from Manaus area. The local church was supposed to transport us, and we were waiting for the whoever was from the local church that was supposed to pick us up, but we were going to miss our flight. And so Sister Robinette or whoever was in charge of it said, just get an Uber if you can. And dude, this guy was I
You didn't
can't
miss your flight,
convert
did you?
kilometers to miles per hour.
Yeah.
But man, we were flying, and we come up to the stop sign or whatever, and it's me and Trayshawn in the back, and then Talon is up front, and he just blows a stoplight. And Talon looks at the Uber driver, and he's like, "We usually stop at those where we're from," and then he's like, "Well, what?" Like, so he translated it on his phone. He said, "We usually stop at those where we're from," and showed it to him. And he's like,
"Stop at
you
the
know."
next one.
It's hilarious.
oh man,
It was like
That's
2 in the
funny.
morning.
that's funny.
Yeah, but it's nothing compared to like Bangladesh. Probably it's wild.
It was wild. It was an eye opener.
So did you? But you probably been driving since you were little, huh?
Yeah,
Like, working
I mean, growing up where I was,
Yeah.
I was driving semis.
Yeah.
You know, my grandpa was an owner operator. I could drive a semi, you know, very comfortable.
Dude, I was so happy when you came to Tallmadge because I was like the guy who would drive the ladies to ladies conference or the youth to
That's
kids
terrible.
camp.
Oh, that's funny.
And
yeah.
I hate driving. I don't like driving at all. Like, I'm good to be a passenger. Like, I don't love driving. And speaking of a call, like not wanting to do the call of God on your life,
Right.
I remember saying, God, I'll give you my whole life as a kid. Whatever you want to do with me, I'll do it. Whatever you ask me to do, I'll do it. But I won't be a sound man, and I won't be a bus driver, and I won't be an usher, and I won't be a preacher, and I won't be a teacher. But anything else you want me to do, and I've done all of those things.
Right.
And yeah, I was so glad when you came. There was this one time, I don't know if you were here yet or not, but I drove the kids to camp. I think it was junior high camp, and the bus broke down.
I was here. I remember that. Yeah.
Oh, the radiator.
You were on the side of the road.
Mm-hmm. The radiator fan flew off the side of the bus, and it just went from wanting to stopping, and it was a horrible experience. And then which it was nothing from fault of my own. It just was
you just happened to be driving it when it did.
Yeah, it was the one that was there when it happened, and so. I was so happy when John came because he was like, "Oh, I'll drive," and I'm like,
I think I've seen his Bangladesh driving. One time when we had to return vehicles to the airport.
Oh goodness!
In a construction zone.
Well,
I won't go any farther, but I couldn't keep up, and I went to the wrong airport because of it.
I did not know you were following me. There it is. And we had
these roads are this narrow.
Communication is so important.
Narrow roads, but it's like Bangladesh for him probably.
That was
it's a highway speed.
Driving in the woods. He had to make it in between the certain trees.
I got past. I was going 55 trying to get into your driveway, and some right past me so fast, so angrily.
It's a rough road.
I was like, man, I'm just trying to turn.
Most people go 70, 80 past my house.
I see a lot. I drive over 50,000 miles a year, so for work. So I see a lot, and God's did a work in me. I just let a lot go now.
Yeah.
Where I used to get irritated.
Just chill in the slow lane.
Yeah,
at the speed limit.
So, yeah.
I was so glad when you came. Took over the bus driving portion of things.
Just like a guy from Louisiana driving the bus and to midwinter when it was snowing really bad out.
Man,
that's fun time.
Yeah. All right, John, I got a really important question for you.
Uh-oh.
In a recent episode, not recent episode, I guess one of our first episodes, we talked about monkeys.
Okay, yeah.
And there was these monkeys that got loose.
Here we go. And turkeys. We're going to talk about
we're going to talk about both of these.
Because I know I have a partner here.
I want to know what he thinks. Okay, so I think it was 52 monkeys escaped an Alpha Genesis research facility in South Carolina.
Yeah.
And which, first of all, the name Alpha Genesis has some weird spiritual connotations if you think about it. Sorry about that. So yeah, Alpha Genesis, beginnings, right?
Yeah.
And it's a research they breed and test on these rhesus monkeys, which feels like a sci-fi movie beginning to me.
Absolutely.
Right? And what's crazy is these monkeys have escaped more than one time. More than one time they've escaped. So they're researching, messing with these monkeys, doing all these things, and then they escaped. Now, Sean thinks they're cute.
Yep.
And they would make a good house pet.
Negative.
Oh, I'm all alone.
I've got proof.
Yeah. Proof. I want to hear the proof.
My proof is I have a witness. Okay,
I got video.
So first of all,
one of those research monkeys that are all docile from all the things that they're putting in them to comply.
They're cute.
I heard you dogging on dogs too, which I don't agree with at all.
What?
So,
yeah, he thinks dogs are more dangerous than monkeys.
Oh yeah,
and he has a dog. But I will say this. It is to be said that there is a type of monkey that is in Bangladesh that is large enough to kill its owner if you were to have it as a pet.
Wow.
So they would not have said that if a monkey had not killed someone before. Am I correct in that?
Right.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously there have been
It's
deaths
happened.
by
My
monkeys.
mind.
Even
I will say this, and here's my proof. Matt and I, we were privileged to go to Agra, India. We saw the Taj Mahal. We were getting ready to go into the Taj Mahal. And if you're ever in that area of the world, go to the Red Fort as well. It's actually the kingdom of the king who built the Taj Mahal, which is almost just as impressive as the Taj Mahal. But anyway, back to the monkey business. Matt
See what you did there.
wanted to take a picture with the monkey, and one of the guys with us that spoke really good English, he kept telling us, don't smile when you're near a monkey. They view, I don't know if this is true or not, but after what happened, I believe it is, don't smile to the monkey. They take that as a sign of aggression.
Probably because
So-
you're showing your teeth.
Right. And that's exactly what he was telling us. And so I took the advice, but Matt wanted to take a picture with this monkey. And this was one of the funniest moments. He went up to next to this monkey and he had to look at the camera, right, that I was taking a picture with. He had to take his eyes off the monkey. So it was kind of a nervous, like, little smile, but that monkey saw the smile and literally started chasing my brother. Matt took off running, and this monkey was chasing Matt. It was hilarious. Finally, the monkey just took off.
What kind of
different
monkeys
direction?
What kind of monkey was that?
I am not really monkey versed. I mean, it was like a smaller monkey. It was more of like since you know all about the monkeys, it was kind of like white monkey, like a white and gray monkey.
So there is a difference.
So the monkeys that
You're thinking
encountered,
of capuchin.
No, they were spider monkeys in the Amazon.
I don't
were
like
pretty
spiders.
cool.
You put
Or
spider
monkeys.
and
They're
monkey
pretty cool.
together.
Yeah.
Two words I don't not
No.
quite fond of.
They seemed. I mean, there was tours that just kept going past them day after day. I cannot get comfortable. I'm sorry, guys.
No, you're good.
Those are like domesticated. They're like Tallmadge animals, right?
Okay, all right.
So I mean, if
Hold
you're
on,
out
that's
in
fair.
the
Before we
jungle,
go-
That's fair. I understand that. That's my language.
But hold
but
on.
eventually
I'm about to get murdered for my
you
turkey
are. I know
thoughts.
what's coming.
Yeah. His
someone
wife
who's
sent
never
me
went-
a video with him included in the text, not just but a video of her chasing the turkeys.
Again,
What in
Tallmadge
the world?
turkeys.
I can
Tallmadge
grab-
turkeys.
Yeah.
If you were hunting a turkey, you won't see one.
No, never.
You literally have to call them in.
Real quick, there was, before we get to me changing my mind about turkeys, in 2018, so recently, during the pandemic, recent years, in India, a mob of rhesus monkeys, which are the same monkeys that escaped this research facility that we were talking about in episode 1. In 2018, there was a mob of them that went on and went out into this area, and I can't pronounce it. I'm not gonna even try to pronounce the city's name. But it was a 12-day-old infant that they had killed.
Yeah, I believe it.
And so it's not a thing that's really a downer, but it's not a thing. They have killed people,
Sean.
to your point, Sean. So that's a pet that you probably shouldn't have. This incident, they were human monkey conflicts in this area, this specific area in India. And so yeah, it was a rare case, but they did attack humans and local residents. And it was a tragedy right before the pandemic.
It's just the breed of monkey.
Maybe. You said
Okay.
they were cute.
Yeah, the certain ones that I'm seeing at Home Depot and stuff.
And so this has led to a conflict in
They're like little
India
humans.
where people and monkeys are not getting along so much. So
You'll never convince me otherwise.
no. First of all, it's weird. Just have a dog.
You can't take a dog and like
You
have it
can
hold
now.
your food for you.
You can. I'm sure you can. There's service animals.
There's
all
a
over the place
thing
now.
called thumbs.
Do you really want another, like, just have
Just
another, have
buy
another
a
kid?
Tesla robot.
Have another kid. Or
There was also a story how the monkeys. There was a monkey. I think it was rhesus monkey in India. This is a real story, and maybe we'll go into this in another episode or Patreon or whatever. But it stole a certain virus blood sample of in recent years. It stole a blood sample of a virus in India right before a certain worldwide situation went down. And so what I'm saying is,
So are you saying
don't trust the monkeys? I'm just saying
that it wasn't actually China?
We're gonna get censored.
Don't worry,
was
Donald
the
Trump
monkey
and Elon
virus.
Trump. Elon Trump.
Monkey virus.
yeah, I'm not about the monkey business, dude.
And now, but there is, I understand his point. There are monkeys that have been kind of domesticated.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not afraid of them. Like, I'll pet one, and then get it away from me. I pet a tiger in Thailand. I pet 2 of them, and they had like a little string, like that string was going to hold them back. But I took a risk.
Have you
just
ever
to say
seen
I
a
did it.
liger?
No.
Okay, just checking.
What are you drawing, Napoleon? It's a liger. No, the capuchin monkey, like the Night of the Museum monkey, I would pet that monkey because I'm stronger than that monkey. That monkey's not going to mess me up. However, Most monkeys will mess you up.
I ain't going to sleep.
And every primate will mess you up. I'm just saying. Any ape type monkey will mess you up.
Not
And a
doing
rhesus monkey will steal blood samples.
I've been in a zoos and they're throwing their feces on people.
Yeah,
That's
gross.
so gross.
That's
yeah.
nasty.
Yeah, you want that in your house?
Yeah, yeah. You have to
put 'em
change
in a
its diaper. Yeah, and then you got to change the diaper.
You're
every
over there.
month.
You're over there. Oh, they have thumbs. They can take the diaper off.
That's very true.
You're over there eating dinner.
So
Change
true.
yourself, monkey. Train it to go on the toilet.
You're over there eating dinner and it's like pulling off its diaper and launching it. And you're eating like meatballs or something. And you don't know the difference.
That deserves a sound effect.
Clip it.
But, which brings us to the thing that you guys wanted to get on about turkeys.
All right.
Now, I will preface this to say,
Can we just blank your face out here on the cameras? Because you're going to be alone anyways in this spot.
No, because in recent episodes, we've even talked more about it. My mind is starting to change on it.
We need to take them turkey hunting.
However, I've never been turkey hunting. I've never been much. I've fished my whole life.
Yeah.
I've not really delved into the hunting thing yet. I'm very interested in it.
Yeah, that's a good word.
and it's a big word yet because I'm pretty ignorant in terms of all the things hunting, and so that's part of why we're doing this podcast. I'll get to learn more things. However, every experience I've had with turkeys, they're dumb.
They've all been in Tallmadge.
Yes. Have you
Not
ever?
all of them. Not all of them.
Have you ever had an experience with a turkey
Out here in Deerfield.
Hold on.
My mom used to live out here.
In a
That was buzzards. You
an
thought it was
area
turkeys.
No,
that's
they were. I know the difference.
in an area that is not on
Come
a
here, buzzard. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
in an area that was not on a public roadway,
Yeah.
in a local locality or whatever you want to call it, but actually deep into the woods where they are breeding and roosting.
I will say this:
and
in areas where they are huntable, in this area,
yeah,
like or not like this neighborhood, but this area, in my mom's old backyard, there were coyotes and there were wild turkey. And I seen them.
how close were you able
I mean,
to get
you
to
can
them?
see
I didn't
them.
try to like sling. I had a slingshot that I would occasionally try to,
Yeah.
but never close enough for.
How often have you been in a tree in a deer stand? Okay, in the middle of the woods, like during the rut, and you can't wait to see this big buck come running in. Then all of a sudden, what do you see?
Turkey.
Turkeys
Or a squirrel.
Squirrel, yeah. But turkeys will run your deer hunt. But you're up 20 plus feet up in the air, and you move, those turkeys will spot you.
Mhm.
Am I lying? They have amazing eyesight.
So
Didn't I say that?
Yeah, you did. And I'm not doubting that, but like, what's to say the turkey? So there were birds, right?
Yeah.
So what's to say the turkeys in Tallmadge don't make their way out here every once in a while?
They're not coming out here
No.
from
Do you know what I'm
Tallmadge.
saying?
I think that's just something we need to.
It's where they roost.
We need to look that up.
Yeah, I don't know their.
Like, where's their pattern of migrate? Where do they go?
Tallmadge turkeys ain't leaving.
They don't
Tallmadge.
stay in
They're,
town. I'm
they're
not
like
convinced.
they're like
I'm
that's
telling
like
you.
their kingdom.
Yeah.
They're not.
I mean,
getting
they're
touched
pretty.
there.
I've watched them grown, like being at the church every day. I've watched them grow from just little things
Yeah.
to they're massive now.
Yeah.
They're huge. They're so big.
I
And
think
every
we
year
need to
I'm
have like a
like,
turkey drive when
we
you're at
should
the
just need
church.
to go out there and
And we could
just
yeah.
take care of some pests,
Yeah.
take care of some pests. And but there's toms and there's hens and there are all kind of things. But they're dumb. I could literally grab its neck.
And
Those turkeys are dumb.
you've also held deer in your hand.
Well, Christian did.
Oh, was it? It wasn't you.
Yeah.
There's been deer. You normally could not do that. There is a lady in Tallmadge that feeds them like peppermints and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's from her hand, but
It's kind of
basically it's like her little. They come
They're
visit
pets.
her every afternoon,
they're
every
pets.
evening. Yeah, and
to a point.
it's not. That's not.
That's not how
That's
nature
not
is.
deer. Yeah.
I guess I just haven't been out enough to know the better.
I think
the
this
difference.
coming year we need to get you out on
Oh,
some
I'll go.
hunts and yeah.
I go.
Yeah.
I got my.
As much as you like to keep fish and eating fish,
Mhm.
I think it's a whole different ball game.
For
Yeah,
sure.
a big game. You know?
Oh yeah, for
It's a
sure.
lot of fun.
And which would be my next question before you come and destroy me with the turkey knowledge.
I love it.
Not my turkey knowledge.
With ChatGPT's turkey knowledge, AI's knowledge of the turkey. catch and cook or catch and release? Which is your thing? Little both.
It depends on what mood I'm in, how much time I have. I usually know if I go fishing if it's going to be like going out there have a good time, fish, or hey, we haven't ate fish in a while. I'm going to go out there and catch to eat. Now Louisiana was quite different. When we go out fishing, we would literally catch fish, clean them, and put them in the freezer, and we would eat fish all year long. Yeah. Here's a little bit different. Family's a little smaller, so I'll.
The kids like it.
They love fish.
Isn't that
Gentry
amazing?
loves fish.
I've never felt like so much of a win until like I'm a good dad, you know, but like I've never felt such a dad win till when Kendall started to love fish. In fact, if I go steelhead fishing and I don't bring home a fish, Kendall will get to the point where she might cry.
That's why I don't let that happen.
I need to come raid. I need to come raid your freezer because I need to taste how you're cooking it because the steelhead that I've done.
Oh, I got some recipes.
It's a lot of work to clean them, a lot of bones.
I got a technique.
Is it worth it?
I got a technique. Oh, it's definitely worth it.
It takes me like
show you how to
less than 3 minutes to clean a steelhead.
Yeah. I've only cleaned 2 before in my life.
Yeah,
you got to think because there's the rib bones, and then there's like a Y bone and pin bone in the back. And there's a technique that you can get that out, and it will be completely boneless.
Almost.
I did not use that technique. It took me a while to carve out all the bones because I didn't even really. I'm not familiar with the structure of a steelhead.
You could do it. So when I first started doing them, I did them just like I would a bass.
Oh my goodness!
I love bass fish. I eat bass all the time. Grew up eating bass. It's all about how you prepare it.
Chase, do not leave us.
He doesn't
Please
listen.
stay
He
here.
said this too because Chase reached out. He reached out to us.
Where's Chase from?
Chase is from Indiana.
Okay.
Does he
get some Zatarain's
I
fish
was
fry?
not going to doubt it.
Get some Zatarain's fish fry, and get your oil at the right temperature, and you fry those up. It'll change your mind.
Yeah, anything fried is delicious.
It doesn't. I mean,
you can do that.
You can bake it. I mean, that's fine, but
do the same recipe for steelhead.
I'm actually not convinced. To be completely transparent and honest, I'm not convinced that there's a difference in taste in any fish. All fish taste like fish to me.
There is a difference.
There's a difference.
There's a difference
for sure.
To me, I can't
trout
taste
is my favorite fish.
Yeah,
speckled trout, absolutely.
With the exception of like perch, I know perch is sweet.
Perch is sweet in certain, believe it or not, bluegill or brim.
Brim, man,
as he would
I
call
will
it.
tear. Me, my dad, my brother, we used to go out and down in the bayous and stuff, and we would cane poles. All right, cane poles, a bobber, and a cricket.
That's fun.
And literally, when you go to sleep that night, you close your eyes, you're seeing bobbers going into the water.
That's why I love bobber fishing.
You literally
float fishing.
We would like. There was one time I remember specifically growing up. Me, my dad, and Matt went out, got the bass boat, went down the bayou, Lacombe Bayou, and we started catching. I mean, you can literally see the brim beds. Bluegill beds, whatever you want to call them, brim beds, and you just toss that cricket over there, and immediately, I mean, these are not the brim you catch in Ohio. These are like the Texas size brim. You know what I mean? Like the big slabs.
Yeah.
And now you just pull them up, and we got home, and what we do with them, we actually scale them with a spoon. We throw them in an ice chest, so by the time they get home, they're frozen, and it makes them really easy to scale. So we take a spoon. And we scale them, okay? And we obviously gut them, cut the head off, and then we'll freeze them. But we'll do a fish fry that night too. Whenever we come back, that particular day we went out and it started raining so hard on us, and we're out in the middle of the bayou. And I was like, "All right, Dad, are we going in?" He goes, "What? You think the fish are going to get wet?"
What an answer!
Okay, Dad.
Nice.
Dad joke. And I'll never forget that. I use it all the time now.
Yeah.
But we kept 90.
Nice.
We kept 90.
Nice.
He's speaking my language right now.
And there's no limit down there for brim and world. There wasn't at that time. I don't know what it is now. Things change. But we kept 90. And what we will do is same thing, Zatarain's fish fry. And so we don't fillet them or anything. You're wasting a lot of good eating if you're filleting those brim. You take the guts out, you cut the head off, and then you coat it real good with Zatarain's fish fry.
You eat the skin
and you fry it absolutely, and you just peel it right off the bone.
It's like a potato chip.
And then you eat the tail, and the fins, it's like a salty chip. It is amazing.
Wow.
And funny story, I know he won't mind if I share this, but Christian came down and we had a fish fry when he was down back when I first started
like,
dating Ashlyn.
you're going to flay it, right?
Well, no, so I think we already had it prepared or whatever, but he had never eaten fish like that. And
Change your life.
He took a big bite. He didn't realize there was bones still in it.
Oh.
And he got bones on his mouth. I don't want to say anything beyond that because he should tell a story because he had me dying laughing the other day when he was telling me. I didn't realize that. I just found out the other day. We're talking about it. And we did a big fish fry, catfish and everything. And then Drew Prendergast was with us and it was like 3:00 in the morning. I heard something out in the kitchen. And like, I was like, what's going on? So I got up and I looked out the door and looked in the kitchen. And there's Drew and Christian like inside the fridge eating cold catfish that my grandmother had fried up the night before. Yeah.
Mama's catfish. Man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
There was some, I don't know how they cook fish in the Amazon, but it looks absolutely disgusting. And I wouldn't try it.
So I've been on
It was so
You ever
gross
watched
looking.
ever watched the show Meat Eater with Steve Rinella?
I've never even, I don't think I've even finished an episode, but
It's a good show. And that's what piqued my interest in wanting to try to get out hunting. 'Cause
Okay,
it shows
yeah.
me like all the processes of everything. And he went into the Amazon
Yeah.
for one of those it was like a series of episodes and they would just crack. It was the nastiest. Like to me, it was this isn't how you do it. They leave the skin on the catfish. They crack it open.
I don't know about the catfish.
Like the ribs, and they would just put it on green slats.
That's how
and
it
just flip it, and that's how they would eat. They would break it up, put it into a stew, and eat it
So
that
we,
way.
we went to a
Like,
place that is on the river. It's like a tributary of the Amazon, but it's right on the Amazon River, and it's a floating buffet. Like the restaurant's floating, like it's on a barge thing, and the buffet is just like fish like that, just fish and like looks like couscous is like their main side dish over there. But dude,
But
that's where we caught the arapaimas though. That
there
was
is
the
a
cool
point
experience.
to that though. Like
I saw that video.
that's their main source of protein
Yeah.
is the fish from the water. And so when I ask you catch or release, and I'm a little bit of both too, but I'm more on the side of I'm keeping the fish.
It does just for me. It just depends. People have this like thought, oh, if you keep them, then there's gonna be not enough fish. But actually, you're doing it a favor by taking
Which is what
some
Chase
of these fish.
said.
If you want to catch big bass, you got to manage some of the smaller ones because now they're sharing food at that point.
Yeah.
Correct.
So-
and Steve Rinella talks about, he's the host of Meat
Sorry.
Eater. Steve Rinella talks about this too, is there's always been this contention of what's acceptable and what's not acceptable to eat in the fisherman culture. And he goes on to speak on how if you're really about like conservationism, is that the right word? Conservation.
Sounds good. I'm going with it.
If you're really about
Conservancy.
if you're really about that, then you need to call off some of the smaller bass.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so, man, I've never received so much hate over my like of that fish, which it doesn't taste. I've always been told it's gross, it's yellow, it's fishy, it's this, it's that. But when you deep fry it,
Yeah, it's
tastes the same.
phenomenal.
Fish tacos, man.
When I say frying it, obviously it tastes good, but Zatarain's fish fry, if you've never had it, you can get it at Walmart. But if you coat it with that, it's like a really light coating. So it gets a good, anyways, we're going to have to do a fish fry.
Yeah, man.
So we're going to change Sean's mind about bass.
I feel like you've never had it. Have you ever had it?
Bass?
Yeah.
No.
Well, then, man, you're speaking from this is like me saying turkeys are dumb.
Yeah.
You never had
That's probably worse.
And
at,
I
least
would
at least he's seen a turkey.
I'd be willing to say that most of the bass fishermen, and I'm a bass, I like fishing for bass. Obviously,
How many times did you go out last year?
It's a different story. I was very busy, getting licensed, writing a book, starting all these things, and deal with some family stuff last year that I didn't get out on the kayak very much.
We'll get you out in a little plastic boat.
Steelhead.
That's a nice towboat, by the way.
I love that. I've
John
seen
pulled
it.
us.
It's awesome.
He pulled us. Is it Justin that was with us?
Yeah.
So him and Christian were in his little John boat. John boat.
Exactly.
And we were so far, and then the wind was so strong, like Mogador, And we didn't hear any womp womps, by the
There
way.
it is.
When we were there. but we didn't want to paddle back. So he's like, here, just grab a hold of the boat.
That's awesome.
We were moving pretty good.
Just pulled us. I think Justin was about to take on water.
Yeah. I'll let Justin. I'm gonna save a Justin story for when he's on the podcast. But Justin's had some close calls on the kayak already. So, but I think, man, you just gotta try it. You gotta try it before
I'll
you
try
make
anything.
pass judgment.
I've eaten some fish in Malaysia.
Yeah.
It was interesting. Yeah, the eyeballs, everything's still on it.
Yeah, that's how it was in the
Yeah.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, so like, part of me is like, catch and release is great, but also like, for the majority of the planet, this is their main source of protein,
Yeah.
and we're just like, for funsies, let's just
That's what,
catch it.
yeah,
and
they're
throw
doing it
back.
for necessity, and then we're doing it for sport.
Yeah,
you know?
So our steelhead population is designed for
sport.
give and take.
Yeah,
It's a give and take system. So they're not naturally reproducing here because our waters aren't cold enough to hold them all summer as a yearling. So they die off anyways.
So
Or
why
they
only
don't
take
die
two?
off. They
move.
They move back to the
Yeah,
lake. So it's a give and take system. And
it's probably
the
the
people
same-
that say like, oh, you need to put them back, like in Ohio, that's just not. There's no like weight to that statement.
But also, who's to say what is right and what is wrong with that? Like, I'm not gonna tell you if you want to release them. Hey, that's more for me to catch the next time.
Right, yeah.
But I will say that spot that I talked about last time, I think it was maybe it was a couple episodes ago, but that spot that was really hard to get to, like if I would have taken that one fish that I caught, well, you
It
were in
would've
that
been
thread,
done.
I sent that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I would have taken that one fish and not put it back, I probably wouldn't have caught anything else the rest of the day.
And there's times
That was such a small body of water that it
you
was
know,
kind of like the creek that we fished with you.
There's time I've
A
thrown
little smaller though.
I've thrown so many giant catfish back. And I'm like, well, that could have been, but this was before I was married and actually keeping what I caught to eat. I haven't been this way my whole life. It's just within the last probably 12 years where I started to keep what I catch. Cause it was like, let's turn this sport that I enjoy and love into now I have some extra food in the freezer. You know what I mean? That I don't have to buy. It's an extra meal or two.
Yeah, look, for me, catfish, it was never a
But some people
go out and catfish.
Right.
We always did like trout lines, and that's how you got catfish in an abundance, right?
Yeah.
And that's only for eating, right? You're not putting trout lines out for fun.
That's just for
that's
eating.
work, right?
Bro,
Yeah,
one of my
and
favorite things.
Skinning a catfish is like
It's a
cleaning a
nightmare.
catfish. It's
Yeah.
you want to do them all at once. You don't want to just catch one.
But it's
And
been it's one of those fish that you either love it or you hate it.
it depends on where you catch it. Honestly,
Yeah.
I've had
I hate
catfish out of a pond, and it tastes really fishy. It tastes like you're eating the fish food.
Mm.
But then you have out of certain bodies of water, different rivers and stuff. That's good eating.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It tastes different. You can tell when there's a farm raised catfish and one you've caught in the wild.
So you think farm raised is worse?
Absolutely, it tastes more
Maybe
fishy.
that's my only experience with catfish is I had a catfish sandwich at the cafeteria of my job in West Virginia.
See, cafeteria. I mean, that kind of just
That tells
It
you.
was at a power plant right
Hey,
on the
man.
river.
I had this burrito
was
from
it caught in the
Circle K.
river or was
I
it
think it
delivered
I
was
had
on a
this
truck?
gas station
Probably a truck.
sushi from the 7-Eleven. This sushi, it was
Quick story about a catfish.
Meyer sushi though.
that's fire.
I hate sushi, but my wife loves it.
Myers sushi.
When Ashlyn first, when we were engaged and they were throwing my little sister was graduating high school, and then they were throwing a wedding shower for us down there for a lot of my family that couldn't make it up here. And so we went to fly and we went to take off. But at this time I was working third shift. So I just got off of a shift. I left a little bit early, got to the airport, had worked all night. And we go to take off, and I sleep really well on planes. So before we even took off, just the humming of the engines, right? I was asleep. And so we took off.
That's a gift.
I love it. And take off, and then Ashlyn's a little bit of a nervous flyer, so she's like holding on to me, like then all of a sudden she's like, John, like waking me up, and I wake up, she's like, the plane's on fire. I'm like, the plane's on fire. Like the plane's on fire. And then I hear a guy screaming, there's a fireball. There's a fireball.
Oh no.
This is out of Akron, Canton.
Oh my
And I'm like,
goodness.
oh my goodness, she's not kidding. And so
the blood of Jesus.
Yeah. And so I immediately woke up.
Yeah, that'll get you.
And they come over the intercom. They're like, hey, we have to do an emergency landing. Please give us a few minutes. They're getting all the emergency vehicles in place down below before we try to land. And so I'm like, okay, this is actually real. And I'm putting on like a brave face for her. You know, we're engaged. I'm her man. And we land. And so what happened, we landed, everything was fine. But what happened is a blue herring crane, which is a very big bird, if you don't know, went through and knocked one of our engines out. And the fireball that everybody saw was actually the bird.
He was cooked.
He was cooked, and it came out the other side. And a guy actually was flying. He was behind the wing, and he was actually videoing. And when they took off, he had it all on video and everything.
That's crazy.
So they literally took him to the hangar where they were working on the plane and everything.
Talk about fried something.
Fried herring.
Yeah.
Fried herring.
So long story short, we finally got on another plane, got to Atlanta, and we missed our other flight. There was no other flights until the next day. I'm like, we're going to miss my sister's graduation. We have a wedding shower. They've got all this planned. So we rented a car and we drove 6 hours from Atlanta and missed my sister's graduation. But needless to say, when we got into Louisiana, we needed gas. I stopped. And when I was pulling in this gas station, I saw some people unloading some catfish into the back of the gas station. And so I walked in, and sure enough, I see them back there cleaning these fish, and they're frying it up right there, fresh catfish. And so I was like, oh yeah, being in Louisiana, this is a normal thing. And so
Ash said,
well, she didn't know, so she stayed in the car. So I had gassed up the car. I was in there paying, and I came out with 2 styrofoam things full of fish. And she's like, you just got fish from a gas station?
That's appropriate response.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, like, why not? She's like, we don't do that in Ohio. And I was like, this is not Ohio. I said, just do me a favor, taste it. And she will say still to this day, that is the best catfish she's ever.
It's wild.
She said fish.
That's wild.
Best fish she's ever had. And I was like, yeah, it's fresh.
From a gas station.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's a gamble here in these parts.
I've learned in Ohio, don't get anything unless it's from the local Sheets or something.
I love Sheets. Oh, dude, there's one going by your house.
Yes.
I'm stopping there for breakfast every Sunday.
Drive through.
Is it open yet?
Is it
3 more days?
Oh,
is it by Walmart?
It's literally, the back way to get to my house.
Holiday
by the
Inn.
hotels.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's literally right
I can't
there.
remember what it's called.
44.
Right in front of the Holiday Inn.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I used to make that drive every day.
French toast sticks every Sunday.
Oh no, man. But to the point for both of you, so like steelhead, catfish, bass, all of it is just how you prepare it and how fresh it is.
Absolutely. God put it there for a reason.
Yeah.
I will say that I can taste a difference in steelhead depending on size and how long they've been in the river.
I've only tasted it once, and it was the way I prepared it. I'm pretty sure.
Hillary my wife makes a honey garlic steelhead.
See, I want to.
It's very good.
My point is, the way I prepared it, I was not the biggest fan.
But you could deep fry it.
You could do that. I did.
Oh, and it wasn't good?
And so, you know how you got some really big chunks? Like it's a thick meat. The ones I really enjoyed was the real thin pieces.
It was a little fishy on the
It was just so much, The Gentry tore it up. He loves fish, but I would love to try.
So both of my kids loved it. Sadie and Kendall loved it until I was at that early stage of learning how to fillet them. Sadie got a pin bone.
Yeah.
And she was like,
done.
I'm done with fish chicken nuggets, Daddy.
Fish chicken nuggets.
I failed. Fish chicken nuggets. But Kendall still to this day, she'll eat her fillet and then she'll come to everybody's plate. I
love that.
She kept taking it.
So
Great.
steelhead for me, if I'm going to take one home, it's got to be chrome. It can't have any collar to it yet. And it's got to be between or under, I would say under 25 24 inches, 24 to 25 inches and under, and then chrome.
And then I'll
that's
take
the good
whatever
tasting
other
ones.
one you caught that I
Yeah.
did not, apparently, because I'm not.
And then I'll come
Successful
over and
this year.
help you eat it because I haven't found a way to prepare it yet.
I don't know how to cook at all. So,
Oh, wait,
I mean, yeah, go
I'll do
ahead.
that.
I'm cooking for
The
you.
burger story. I wish we had that video.
Oh my goodness, we had
What was that app called? All the girls were addicted to that app. They
it's
just
still going on, isn't it?
is
Marco
it Marco
Polo.
Polo?
Marco Polo.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, I tried to. Okay, settle this because my wife. I'm gonna get myself in trouble. Went on social media fast.
You're getting me in trouble.
I'm gonna get everybody in trouble. If I'm going down,
You're in trouble already because you're here.
If it's
And I suckered you into getting here.
if it's
Sean had a favor to cash in.
yeah, he cashed in the favor.
Immediately, same day.
we're on the social media fast, and she gets on Marco Polo, and I went, babe, we're on a social media fast. She's like,
That's
okay,
not social media. That's
and she goes, this isn't social media. I'm like,
yeah, I agree.
that's social media. What are you doing on it?
I agree with her.
No, what are you doing on it?
Communicating.
You're being social. What is the media aspect about it?
Communicating.
I don't know. It's social media.
It's almost like FaceTime.
It's like recording a voice message.
Voice FaceTime.
No, because there's an.
you can do that
It's
now.
not. It's different because FaceTime requires immediate back and forth
Is she
response.
scrolling?
Have you seen your wife's
No.
Marco Polo?
My wife's been out of that.
2 hours of
I
just
played
back.
I played the fifth.
We'll carry on this conversation after the podcast is over, after we're not recording. But however, come on now.
No, but I was cooking. I got home from church on a Sunday night, and that's when I was doing
Meal
the no
prepping.
carbs. I was no
Yeah.
carbs, and I was just cooking a bunch of hamburger patties because I just eat it with ketchup, man.
There's so much better flavored.
Yeah, I don't know how to cook, so I'm just like I'm cooking two patties for every day, right? So do the math. I'm not good at math.
Are we
Math is
doing
hard.
work days or are we
10,
doing
10 5 days? So
That's not enough protein.
I'm making this just for my lunches.
Oh,
and,
okay.
and so I'm making these burgers, and I'm still in my suit and tie. And I'm getting oil splashed all over me. And these things are not cooking. They're sitting there forever.
Not cooking.
And they're not even
Was
cooking.
the heat on?
The heat was on. It just wasn't on enough, I guess. But yeah, my wife did a Marco Polo and
It was pretty
showed
funny.
me cooking hamburgers in my suit and tie.
in a suit and tie? And you just know
It was like he was working at like an alternative
It was
universe
yeah,
Chick-fil-A.
we're all
Like in
sure
his
that he
suit.
got his suit dry cleaned before the
It
next
was-
service.
yeah, I did. There was so much oil on it.
He's at the
Somebody prayed for me.
yeah, he's at the altar. and
Somebody prayed for
people
me.
are smelling
Yeah, so it's
hamburgers.
Like burger.
That's a different type of anointed oil.
Oh, help us.
And it didn't smell like McDonald's.
Mm.
It's a different kind of oil.
I remember one time when I was a I was a teenager, still living with my grandparents, and I wanted a double cheese McDouble so bad, but I didn't have a job, and I didn't have a car, couldn't drive. I'm gonna make a McDouble cheeseburger. I was like, what's in a McDouble? So I fry up the patties. I get an onion,
It's not even gonna be close.
and I'm telling you,
really.
I thinly chopped up the onion like how they do their onions.
Yeah.
The combination of ketchup and chopped up onions is what makes a McDonald's burger a McDonald's burger.
I'm not an onion
It
fan.
was uncannily.
Me neither.
It was the same. It was like biting into the same thing. And then I got the stomach flu from it. So I must have messed up something. I got so sick to the point where for at least 4 years I didn't eat McDonald's because that made me so sick.
But you
of
didn't
it.
even eat it from
Wow.
McDonald's.
I
You
know.
cooked it.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, it tasted exactly like a McDouble.
That's crazy.
It was so, and all it was,
crazy.
the only difference was like, it was just meat, pepper, salt, cheese, ketchup, thinly sliced, chopped up diced onion. And that was McDouble. But I got something was bad. Either the meat was bad or there was some cross contaminate. Something went wrong. And ketchup was something expired or something. And I got so sick.
My mom helped Veeple start like a barbecue joint.
Oh, yeah.
And so she had to do like all this like training on like food, like how you store your food and all this stuff.
Mhm.
But to be certified or to get your plaque, whatever, to do business. But she just told me recently that a lot of people get sick. They think it's the meat or this and that
Just
or another.
cross-contamination.
It is not even that, but you have to, like onions get a lot of people sick if you don't keep them correctly. So
See.
after you cut up your onion, you have to make sure you put it in the fridge right away or it will spoil.
And maybe
So
it was-
I didn't realize that. A lot of people get sick from eating onions that are left out. So
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was just an old onion.
my
that
first thought was
sitting
your
out.
onions. Yeah.
Wow. It's
People are
crazy.
probably going to fact check me,
Oh,
everything I
bro,
say.
it'll happen. Hey, listen,
Bring it on.
If you love us, if you hate us, leave a comment, leave a review. If it be positive, if it be negative,
Doesn't
it's
even
all
matter.
Good. It's all good.
It all
For
helps
us.
us anyways.
Yeah. So fact check my onion story.
You know, you can leave 5-star review and then comment away as far as on the negative stuff, right?
Yeah. They don't see your negative reviews unless you put it in the comments under a 5-star review.
Right.
It's the only way they
Right.
see it.
Yeah, it has to be a 5-star.
Yeah, it's got to be 5 stars. 5 stars. Specifically on Spotify.
Certified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Overrated, underrated.
This is going to be a total guess, but I don't know which one it
It's
is.
going to be the creepy one.
Oh, yep, that wasn't the right one.
That would have worked. No, that was. This is not.
Oh, is the one that we.
Yeah.
Dude,
We're going to get this
one
down
day.
one day.
We're going
One
to
day
leave all that in. So
for
you're
post.
welcome.
All
No,
right.
there is no post here.
No post? Okay.
It's authentic.
It's time for overrated, underrated.
I love this stuff.
Overrated, underrated. So you've heard the show.
Yes.
So essentially, we're going to give you some topics. You're going to tell us your stance on it. If it's overrated, underrated, just right. If you hate it, if you love it, all the things. All right.
All right.
First one's unique to you. Being a twin. Is it overrated or underrated?
Underrated. Underrated was all. I mean, being a twin is just awesome. For me, like I said, always had someone to play with, always had someone to fight with. It was very entertaining. Hunting together. I mean, going out behind, butted up to our land was like thousands and thousands of hunting land, acres of hunting land. Going out squirrel hunting together, you know, just at one point we had little 410s. We were really young. We had the youth stock 410s, and we were out there hunting behind my great aunt's house one time, and there was a squirrel that came down, and boom, I was shooting at it, and got one. Another one came down, boom, and then my great aunt yelled out her window, "Stop shooting my house!" So yeah, all the BBs, all the pellets were not hitting the squirrel, were hitting her house.
That's awesome.
Yeah, underrated. If you're a twin, you live a blessed life.
So how did you sign up for that when you were up in heaven before you're put in? I missed that board.
You might have to Google that. I don't
Yeah,
know.
That was just one of those weird questions.
It's one of those.
Don't try to follow me.
It's like one of those things that's just
can't.
unexplainable. Next one. Ready?
Yes.
Well, I guess for us it would be sibling, because we both are siblings. Overrated, underrated.
I only have half sibling, in-step siblings.
My little sister just had a baby yesterday,
Oh,
and that's crazy. So congratulations, Liz. Probably
Congrats,
listening. I'm so
congrats.
excited for our family growing, still growing. I got a lot of siblings. I would say I love having siblings.
My sister she still tries to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
she's
Hope
older.
you're
I'm
not
assuming.
listening.
She's listening. Get him!
I doubt it.
No.
Yeah, she's older. She was up here for Christmas with my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
So I have my sisters are all listening. I think every one of my sisters are listening.
Shout
I love
out
it.
Katie. Shout out Michael.
Hey,
Cassie, Brianna, Liz, Ari.
Oh, and Matt.
I'm the only.
so
Josh.
Matt's not
Okay,
your
I'm the only boy.
favorite. I'm just kidding.
I owe him a lot of favors.
Yeah.
My favorite right now.
Matt, you got to come on the show and tell us what John.
Who mowed the
What
grass
happened?
is all I want to know.
Who weed eated that day and who mowed the grass.
Yeah.
I was on the zero turn.
All right.
I promise you that.
Pause the overrated, underrated. I need to hear this story because I'm not familiar with this story.
If you want to share it.
So we, yeah.
I
just
keep hearing mower and grass.
Just real quick. I mean, so
There's not
every-
much to the story. Just I know what happened.
We mowed once a week, and
was this a chore or was it?
Oh, it was a job.
A job.
It wasn't a chore. It was a job.
You got paid?
No.
Oh.
There's a lot of property, so we'd mow our own yard, and then we'd mow our grandparents' yard.
Okay.
On
We're
we used to do
clipping
it-
this. Send them to Matt.
We used to have, one of those old green Craftsman. It used to take forever. It would literally take us a day and a half. But then Grandpa was like, you know what? We'll spoil these kids, basically, and got a 0 turn. Changed our life. We went from like a day and a half of mowing to
you would finish you would finish half the rows, and by the time you finish the other rows, the other half would grow out again.
Oh, it felt like it. It felt like it. So we were wanting to go somewhere. I don't know where we were wanting to go, but we knew in order to go places, we had to get done like the things we were expected to be done around the house. So mowing was one of those things. So I woke up early. We wanted to leave. We had to leave early or something. And it might have been something at the campgrounds for the UPC there in Louisiana, UPCI campgrounds. And that's 4.5 hour drive from us. So in order to get there, you would have to leave early. I think it was something like that, a big youth service there or something. But we had to get up super early to make sure we got done. And he would not wake up. So I was like, you know what?
You get the mower then.
Exactly. I was going to deal with my portion, and he would just get up whenever he decided to get up, and he'd have to weed eat. Now, this property is huge, right? So 2 properties, it was a lot to weed eat, and it was a lot to mow too. And it wasn't like we were going to get done one before the other. You usually finish up around the same time, but weed eating is just a chore, right? Mm-hmm. And so yeah, it was my turn to weed eat. I will admit that, but he would not get up, and I kept saying, if you don't get up, I'm getting the mower this time, And that's going to be it. So I got on the mower, and I'm probably out there. I had finished our yard, and I was on my grandparents' yard. And all of a sudden, I'm just a mowing, and he comes up behind me and sucker punches me in the back of the head because he was so mad that I had. Because at this point, it's so far in. Like I've done majority of the mowing already, and he just got so mad. He sucker punched me, and so what happened is I jumped off the mower, and then we're on a full blown fist fight, and it was kind of still in the morning, so it was still dewy out, and we were just fist fighting. He were swinging, and I connected with his jaw the same time he slipped. So
it looked worse than it was.
Oh, absolutely.
I
got a little bit.
You ever hit? Well, so I have cousins that are like brothers to me. Have you ever hit somebody? This has happened, Justin. This has happened both ways. So I don't want to start anything. He's not here, but we both have moments like this where we've hit each other so hard that it scared us.
Oh, absolutely. And so usually me and Matt, no matter what fight we were in, we always said no face shots. So no matter how mad we were
it's the Bushido code.
It was like no face shots. So we would be bruised up all over, but no face shots. But he was mad. And so he started the back of the head cheap shot. So I was going for the face. And I made contact, and it made it looked like I just knocked him down. Ugh. But we were chasing, running around, and he had these boots on, and he had just woken up, and he slipped, and I hit at the same time, and he went down. And it was one of those things, just when that happened, I was like, "You okay?" And he's like,
he immediately went like the alone. I gotta nurse my brother back to health.
Right, exactly. I was like, I gotta nurse him back to health. And I was like, "You okay?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I got on the 0 turn, and he got on the weed eater. Yeah,
that's funny.
So. To be and like you said, I've been on the receiving end too.
Oh, absolutely.
But we would always hurt each other on purpose. But as soon as it happened, it's like, oh no, you're all right.
Yeah.
And it was just an understanding, oh, yeah. And that's usually when the fight was over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny. Growing up, you never really had any altercations like this.
Yeah, I've never been in a fight. Yeah. Sorry.
Crickets.
I guess I did punch my cousin one time.
There we go.
I was just told that. I don't remember. It was a Christmas party. But now
he blacked out. You guys that black out when you get mad. You've been in plenty of fights. You just don't remember.
Now that cousin is a
prominent preacher in our organization.
No. What's the word? Not a cap. Maybe it is a captain. You have to go to school. You have to graduate, and then you go to the Air Force, and you're a captain or whatever. I don't know.
So he went
officer. He
went to officer school then.
Yeah.
In other words, he could kill you now.
So he went to officer training school, Air Force, started flying fighter jets, and now he's doing. I'm not sure how much I can say, but he works on those planes that are miles above the fighter planes and can see everything and doing electronic warfare
if you could tell
stuff.
us what these drones are about.
Well,
he's deployed right now, so
maybe he is the drones.
I know where he's at.
Marco
but I
Polo.
can't say that here.
Oh, okay.
Marco Polo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get on that social media. No. Oh,
Thank
I
you
was
for your
curious.
service.
That's a great story.
So I guess I punched him one time at a. Yeah, he could probably just drop a nuke on me right now.
It's
if he
funny how
wanted to.
how guys work. Girls will get in a fight, and their fight is like they won't talk to each other for 6 months.
Yeah, they
they
hold
talk
that grudge.
nasty about each other.
That's how
They
guys
hold
at
a
work
grudge.
are too.
Guys, every person that I've ever been in a fight with as a youth, I don't get into fights anymore. Obviously, I don't do that.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank God is great, and don't do that anymore. But as a youth, and most guys listening probably have a similar experience where everyone I ever fought with ended up being a very close friend with me.
I agree with that. High school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't like seeking fights.
No.
Obviously I had a blood disorder, right? But most of them, like that, we had confrontations and stuff. Became really good friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember in middle school, my brother and both of us got in an altercation with this one guy at separate times. And he was a very good fighter. And if we would actually, it would have went further than what it did, I'd have probably got knocked out. But we became so close friends. And then like any altercation that people try to start stuff from then on until like our senior year, he would like come in and say, hey, you ain't messing with him. You mess with him, you got to mess with me. That type of thing. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I did get punched in the forehead one time.
A brother is born for adversity.
Yeah.
A twin, though. Matt's probably always had your back.
We would, in junior high one time, I literally chased him around the school during class hours because he made me so mad. I was like fighting. I was ready to fight him. Him and another guy. I chased him around. At one point, I took my shoe off because I couldn't reach him, and he was like 2 floors down, and I saw him. He didn't see me, and I just chunked my shoe at him.
Walked around barefoot all day, worth it.
Yeah, then he got my shoe and took off, and now I got one shoe. It was so bad.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, until that same guy that he was messing with me with, like, did something to me in front of a whole group of people, and I was taking care of business, and he jumped in too.
So fighting, overrated, underrated.
I mean, I
Overrated.
wouldn't advise it as
I
a
would
Christian.
say no, don't do that.
Don't do that.
It's overrated. What are you doing? Just
Well, yeah.
be friendly.
Let the Lord fight this.
Yeah,
battle.
the Lord will fight your battle. Sean, quit
I got along
quit
with
blacking out and
everybody,
fighting your
dude.
cousin, man.
I got along with everybody.
I'd say eventually. I mean, for the most part,
Yeah.
I tried to get along with everybody.
Yeah.
It's funny because all my friend groups, like, I don't know, like how it was for you guys, but public school, my class size was like 450. The school size was, there's 4 grades, so it was a pretty big school. Like the lunchroom, like I would go sit with everybody.
Yeah, that's
like
how it was for
I,
me.
Yeah.
I had goth friends. I had like
Yeah.
pothead friends, and I had my church group
Hey,
friends.
this is a family podcast.
Yeah.
My youth group friends that were at my church, like, and I would just go in circles. Like,
Same here. I loved
same.
it.
Yeah.
I could still say this. Like, no, I don't talk to them all day, but like a class reunion, right?
hmm
I can honestly say that I've had.
Did we all go to public school?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, same.
I went to a Christian school like early on, like kindergarten, first grade, second
Yeah.
grade. Then I homeschooled for a little while, and then in 7th grade, I went to public school.
I
I
think
actually
it's-
had 3 of my friends from high school come play golf with us.
Yeah,
Yeah, I met them.
Who are all in 3 different friend groups.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I
Yeah.
mean, I think that's how it should be.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I think because my high school experience was like that, I loved school.
I
Yeah.
think that there's something. This is a deep thought, but like we were all apostolic. We were all Christians, believers in that setting of just there's a pool of young, impressionable people, and we got along with everyone.
Yeah.
And didn't Jesus? Did not he do that too?
Mm.
Did he not go sit with a multitude of different people?
I've never
from
thought
different-
of it like that, and my intentions weren't
Right,
even
but
that.
Me
Yeah.
either.
But that's
but
amazing.
we
Yeah.
have the Holy
It's
Ghost.
a good thought. Yeah.
And you drop us into an area where there's diverse people and everybody got along with us.
Yeah.
You could sit down with anyone and you know, it was funny because I never felt extremely, I was popular, but I wasn't like the popular crowd, but I sat with them and I sat with the burnouts and I sat with the goths and I sat with the jocks and I sat with and it was easy to connect with everyone. And that's funny because we've all had that.
Yeah.
I just made me think of that. Like,
Interesting.
isn't that how God, that's how he did it too.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And so public school I'm just kidding.
I went to public school. It was a different time then.
Yeah.
I say
was
it's
certainly a
underrated.
different time.
Public school's underrated. I enjoyed it.
I did too.
I think
It taught me a lot.
The year 2000's public school is underrated. I would never, and I'm not shaming anybody who does, but I would not send my kids to public school right now.
What grade did you graduate? I mean, what year?
06.
Okay. What about you?
Oh, 2010?
Oh, I was 11.
Gosh.
Yeah.
I'm so old.
Back in your day, public school.
Back in your day, public school was...
boys. Well, boys, listen here now.
Now, overrated, underrated, sharing a bedroom with Matthew.
So I only did that until I was in. Oh my goodness. I don't remember what age I was. I think I was like 8.
Mm-hmm.
So it was cool, but like we would literally stay up all night and like talk.
Not sleep.
Yeah. So we did that a lot. In fact, when Dad built our house, we had our separate rooms for the first time. I was more of like, I'm going to my room, going to sleep. Matt, and I'm saying this like I loved being a twin and having a brother. I'm not like saying, but he would literally grab his covers and everything and lay on the floor in my bedroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just Kendall's the same
And
way.
still talking. You know, we would just talk.
I think it's a thing.
And then finally it was like, he's like, man, this is
Uncomfortable.
it's uncomfortable. I'm going to bed, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's the same. So like, Kendall's the same way. Sadie will go right to sleep, and Kendall needs a lot of attention before communicating when she wants to talk, hang out.
Gentry's like that.
But I'll
pray over him like 5 times.
Yeah, same.
Dad, you forgot to pray over my dreams.
So is Matt the younger one, or are you the younger one?
I'm a minute younger. I think I'm a minute.
Interesting. Oh, there goes my theory.
A lot of people think that I'm the older one. If that helps your theory out.
No,
I mean,
no.
It's not the truth, but I think it.
Did you ever have to share a room? Well, I
did. Yeah, my stepbrothers, so not even blood, you know.
Was it? They're still brothers.
Yeah,
I have a brother. I have one brother, but growing up in a house, I was the only male in the home. So my grandpa drove truck, and he would be gone driving truck, and I was in a house with my grandma. At one point, it was my grandma, my mom, and both of my sisters, like my older sister, both of my older sisters, and I was the only guy in the house. And so I always had my own room because
there you
that.
go. Yeah, you got five women in one room, and Charlie's over there chilling in his own room.
Yeah. So I never had to share a room.
I made my brother do push-ups.
Yeah, but I've had
just because.
Wow.
Yeah, I was mean. I was a mean stepbrother.
Oh, my stepbrother's great.
That's why they turned out the way they did.
Great
probably.
stepbrother.
It's my fault.
We always have fun. When I visit my dad, we'd always have fun.
Sean's putting him through boot camp over there.
It's funny because I actually
Sean's
said this is my boot camp.
I own this room.
Sorry, Travis. Sorry, Matt.
Man.
He's got him over there doing push-ups,
and they just both unsubscribed. No, I'm teasing.
That's funny.
So here's a good one just for our believers, and we're close to the end here, but for everybody, we kind of talked a lot of things today, and we talked about a lot of faith aspects. The way this is worded is different, but faith-filled moments on the mission field, or I would even go as far as to say those highlight moments of faith where like camp services, rallies, Congress, mission trips. Would you say that they are truly an unmatched experience, or, you know, would you rather have that or the week to week intimacy experience with God? Like which I wouldn't say they all have their place. This isn't really a good topic for overrated, underrated, but is it which do you think is more powerful?
I think, like in my life, in my experiences that I had, the amazing, the miracles, signs, and wonders that I've seen in my life have translated into those everyday life moments, right?
Yeah.
Once you experience something like that, you can't forget those experiences, first of all, and it builds your faith to a certain level that you can't tell me my God can't do that.
Yeah.
And even in your personal walk with God, man, there's been some moments in my life where I truly had to trust him and he's came through.
Absolutely.
So I think that builds upon my everyday walk.
It's incredible how God works in that way sometimes, where we've all three, and we'll get into all three of these probably in other episodes and different things, but we've all had undeniable healings and undeniable God moments in our lives where all three of us should not be here today.
Absolutely.
All three of us should have died at a young age. And Sean, with your 4-wheeler accident, I should have never made it out of the hospital.
And then the tornado.
And the tornadoes, all the things. And you probably should have died with that disease. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But God intervened, and in those big moments, it took us into a real relationship with God to the point where, I don't know about you guys, but I'm thankful for those experiences.
Yeah.
Those negative, those horrible, negative, wouldn't wish it upon anybody else things. But I'm thankful for those things because it's what drove me into a real relationship with God.
I agree, 100%.
Yeah.
And so
in the moment, I wouldn't.
No, in the moment, you're like, where are you at? You're like, what is this? Why is this? But I just think it's cool. And so I guess that would be our Bible lesson for today, is like those high faith moments that are those undeniable God moments. I would say they're underrated because they mean so much.
Yeah, it's changed my life, man. Like,
and then like in praying with people, because Brother John is he's a vital member of FAC Tallmadge, and he's involved in the ministry staff, but also like and the gift of faith. I believe that you have that. And I believe that God uses certain people to do miraculous things. He'll expose you, and with you on your mission trip, he'll have a moment with you where there's impartation. And then we're not meant to just have that experience and do nothing with it, but we're to go pray with people. And I've seen you do that. I've seen you do that as well. And God operates. And it's nothing that we are or what we've done, but it's all, God working through us. God just healed me with a severe back problem. I was down on my back for over 2 months. Yeah. And the church has seen how bad I was, right? Mm-hmm. And God did that. God brought me up. Yeah. And so I don't understand why he keeps using me. Yeah. In that way, as far as keeps healing me. Miraculous things happen in my life. Sometimes I joke around and say, okay, God, I know you could do the miraculous. You don't have to use me. How about some of that provision?
Right. But going through those things, man, I wouldn't take it back for anything. Right. My kids' faith is on a greater level now. When they seen Dad on his back for 2.5 months, and then them coming in and laying hands on me and praying over me, and then the small miracles along the way too, the small healings, like I would get up and walk halfway across the room and then hearing my kids like almost in tears saying, Jesus heard our prayers. God did it. God, that's awesome. Those moments I'll never forget. Yeah. And I will go through things like that for those moments. Yeah. Man, as much as he would like me to. Yeah. So yeah. I've been good. God teaches me in a different way than others, I think.
Yeah. And then I think too, man, is like, even just, not just with your kids, but what kind of faith do you have now?
Oh, man.
Like when you're in an altar and you see somebody who's dealing with back pain, you expect something to happen.
Yeah. You can't tell me God can't do it. And sometimes we get into a question, we question God, well, why can't you do it now? Why can't you do it? God, he's working on your behalf. He's going to do it in his timing. And sometimes we go through things, we'll never know why he didn't finish what we thought was the miracle in our life or the healing in our life. But years down the road, we'll have that understanding. Is like, you know what? Well, here's why God wanted me to connect with this person, or God wanted to bring me here. And that's why, like Jeremiah 29:11, like I just trust in that verse right there. Like he has an end in mind for me, and it's a good end.
Yeah.
And
plans to prosper you.
Put my trust in that, and God's good, man.
Man, that's incredible. So I guess this is where we would say final words from John. Would that be it? Or share something to our listeners. We're so glad that you came on the show today, but share some final thoughts to our listeners.
First of all, thank you again for having me on. It's been a blast. I can talk to you guys all night. Probably have already. I don't even know what the time is, but thanks for having me on. And one thing that I was really thinking about, just for me personally, and was something that my dad told me one time. And I was sitting in an intersection in Gulshan 1, which is it's a part of a city in Dhaka, Bangladesh, where it's like a large intersection, some main roads, all hitting into this like circle, right? Almost like the Tallmadge circle. Very big area. And when there's lots of traffic, sitting in that traffic, and when you stop, especially if people see like Americans, they're gonna there's hundreds of beggars around, and so they surround your vehicle and they're asking for money, food. They're beggars, and a lot of them have many deformities and different things, and that really affected me to the core. And I finally was like expressing my thoughts out loud. And my dad probably doesn't even remember this, but I remember asking him, Dad, like, why are they like this? Like, why are so many people here, like, the lacking in food and money? Yes, it's a third world country, right? But why? And my dad he answered with Psalms 37:25. I have been young and now I'm old, yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. And I guess I'll just leave you with the faithfulness of God towards his people. He will always have you through whatever you're going through. But at the end of the day, you're serving him, you will never lack provision. Whether that is food, whether that is joy, whether that's peace, whatever it may be for you in your life, his seed will never beg for bread. He'll always provide. So anyone listening, you're struggling, you feel like you're lacking of something, just know that God's got you. And give yourself to him and serve him with all your heart. Watch what God will do.
Yeah, amen.
And that's powerful and so true. Well, Sean, we're so thankful that you were with us today. And man, it's nothing like
John or Sean.
Sean, John, both of you.
It's so hard to differentiate.
JS.
Listen, every time I hear Ashlyn say John, I feel like I'm in trouble.
Maybe none of the listeners would have noticed. Brother John, it's been so great having you here today. We're so thankful for your friendship and all things, and we'll definitely be having you on again. If you want to come back on after this.
Absolutely.
Definitely have you back on again.
I had a blast, and thanks for the invitation, and thanks for what you guys are doing. I firmly believe that there's not enough of this available.
Yeah.
And what you guys are doing, of course, we love the outdoors, but fishing, hunting, I love the conversations you're bringing up. I'm a faithful listener to you guys. Support
awesome.
you all the way.
Appreciate that.
Thanks for having me on. Yeah, it's been a blast.
Yeah. Sean, you want to close this out?
Nope.
Go ahead. All right. We need to start having our guests do this. Well, that's a wrap for the Casting Faith podcast. We're so thankful that you guys are here. So grateful that you guys are listening. We just broke 1,000 subscribers on social media, and that's an incredible thing. So thank you all. I'm going to look at the camera, even though you're not supposed to. Thank you so much for doing this, for coming along with the journey. So if you're listening and you're not following us on socials, do that. Leave a review, write a comment, share this with 3 people. and help us to grow this thing. And we're so glad you're with us. Until next time, cast faith in your daily life.
Yeah. See how much better that was? If it was me, it would not have been that good.
It might have been good. People want to hear you more, Sean.
Like, comment, and subscribe.